IDF has come back and said that they believe there are 500,000 liters of fuel that are being held by Hamas, that they should be able to share that fuel. We have asked the UN about claims that the IDF has made in the past days that some of the fuel that they had has been stolen by Hamas. The UN said to us that they have no record and no indication of any of their fuel from any of their warehouses being stolen at any point. But while this back and forth continues about how much fuel is left and how long it's going to last, it's very clear that on the ground already the impact of this drastic shortage is being felt, both in terms of the hospitals, but also, Wolf, in terms of desalination plants. People now, according to doctors on the ground, being forced to drink brackish water, a real lack of clean drinking water, and all that aid that is sitting on the Egyptian side of the Rafah border crossing, still unable to pass through. Just 8 trucks went through last night. The expectation and the hope, talking to the UN, had been that starting on Monday, earlier this week, that you would start to see more of a continuous and sustained flow of trucks going through. That simply has not happened, Wolf.
Clarissa Ward reporting from Cairo for us, an update. Thank you very much, Clarissa. Just ahead, what's next for the House of Representatives with a new speaker finally in power? We're going to tell you what we're hearing from key Republicans. Stay with us.
The Whole Story with Anderson Cooper is appointment viewing on Sunday nights. One whole story, one whole hour. The world's best journalists dig deeper into the stories they can't ignore. The Whole Story with Anderson Cooper, Sunday at 10 on CNN.
There comes a time when you realize the kitchen you used to love is ready for a refresh. Let a Cabinets to Go design expert help you craft the look you want with quality products in today's designer styles and colors, backed by a transferable lifetime warranty. Out with the old, in with the new. It's that easy. From design to install, we do it all. Plus, get 0% APR for a limited time. Visit cabinetstogo.com to schedule your free design consultation today. Cabinets to Go. Wow for less.
Hi folks, Joe Namath here. The Medicare annual enrollment period is now. Do you know if your Medicare plan benefits are changing next year? Will your costs go up? Are your doctors still covered? Get answers in 3 steps. 1, call the toll-free number below by December 7th to speak to a licensed insurance agent. 2, review your coverage for any changes to your Medicare plan for next year. 3, learn if a Medicare Advantage plan that may offer additional benefits is available in your area.
I call every year to see what plans are available in my area.
I call every year to make sure my doctors are still covered under my plan.
They work with multiple insurance companies across the nation, so you'll have choices from a variety of plans. The Medicare annual enrollment period has a deadline. Millions have called. You should too.
Call to speak to a licensed insurance agent. Call 1-800-697-6200. Call now.
Hi, it's Christina again. I'm here to tell you about an all-new special offer from my friends at Jacuzzi Bath Remodel that you don't want to miss. You already know, Jacuzzi has been making water feel great for more than 65 years. And now, they're bringing you this special TV offer. We're waiving all installation costs and postponing all payments for 1 year. Jacuzzi Bath Remodel has a design you'll love at a price you can afford. And, best of all, they can install it in as little as 1 day with no stress and no mess. Are you ready to see your new shower? Here it is.
It's fabulous! Taking a shower had gone from being a joy to being a burden. I was afraid I would fall. I called, and just 1 day, I had a shower I could feel safe in.
No matter your situation, Jacuzzi Bath Remodel has a solution for you. From a safer, easy entry shower with features like grab bars and a custom seat to keep you feeling comfortable and independent at home, to a stunning family bath, or how about a luxurious upgrade with a timeless design that will look great for years to come. Plus, they're built to last with a lifetime warranty from an iconic brand you know you can trust.
It was done the same day. We did not have to wait.
It's absolutely perfect. It's exactly what I was dreaming of.
If you haven't already experienced what Jacuzzi Bath Remodel can do for you, your family, And your home? Don't wait any longer. Now is the best time to call. It's never been easier. Take advantage of this special TV offer today.
Go to jacuzzibathremodel.com or call 800-321-0299. That's 800-321-0299. Call now.
We've got questions about Medicare plans.
Well, we've got a lot of answers. How can I help?
Well, for starters, do you have a Medicare plan I can actually afford?
How about a plan with a $0 monthly premium?
Well, that's a great start. What other benefits can we get?
Things like dental, vision, and hearing. But let me help you pick the plan that's right for you.
Ooh.
Don't wait. Call 1-888-65-Aetna to get answers to your questions and pick a plan that's right for you. And let's make healthier happen together.
Closed captioning brought to you by mesobook.com.
We only represent mesothelioma victims and their families. Call for a free book.
Call 800-282-4444 or go to mesobook.com.
Here in Washington right now, the newly sworn-in House Speaker, Republican Mike Johnson of Louisiana, accepting the gavel there. You see that picture. He's taking something of a victory lap right now, but there are so many challenges ahead for him and for Congress, including the threat of a government shutdown less than a month from now. I want to get right to CNN's Manu Raju up on Capitol Hill. First of all, Manu, what are you hearing, what are you seeing from the lawmakers, and you're watching all of them, about the road ahead, the immediate road ahead?
Yeah, I talked to a number of lawmakers about Mike Johnson. What's clear is they're going to give him a bit of a honeymoon period. The question is, how long of a honeymoon period will he get, given the momentous tasks he has ahead on issues like government funding, issues like Ukraine aid, issues like Israel aid? Unclear how he'll deal with any of those matters at the moment. But in talking to the members, they want him to give him some room to maneuver, something that was not afforded to Kevin McCarthy. Some members on the far right say that they'll be open to moving forward on a spending deal that Kevin McCarthy was not afforded to. In fact, when Kevin McCarthy moved in a short-term spending bill, that essentially cost him the speakership. These members are not waging those same threats against Mike Johnson. And also, some of the members, some more moderate members I've talked to about Johnson's more conservative politics. Johnson is aligned more with the far-right elements of his conference on social issues like abortion and against gay marriage. He's also was pushed to overturn the 2020 elections by leading an amicus brief supporting a lawsuit to invalidate a number of states' certified electoral votes. I asked 3 New York congressmen, Republicans who are central to winning the GOP majority, about this. Mark Malinero, Anthony D'Esposito, and Nick LaLotta. They all downplayed all of that. They said that we just need to move forward here. Let's not worry about the past. They said they did not take that into serious consideration as they voted for him here. So, Wolf, it shows you a lot of these members allowing him to maneuver right now. The question is, for how long?
So is there going to be at least a period, a grace period now, where the two parties in this new Congress are going to work together?
It's really unclear, Wolf. In fact, Hakeem Jeffries had told me just this afternoon, the Democratic leader, that he had not yet spoken to Mike Johnson, but he laid out his red lines on dealing with government spending. But that will be a key issue for Johnson, how to maneuver the Senate, the Democratic Senate, the Democrat in the White House, and the Democrats in the minority in his narrowly divided chamber.
Yeah, lots at stake. Manu Raju, thank you very, very much. And to our viewers, thanks very much for watching our special coverage. I'll be back in 2 hours in the Situation Room. The Lead with Jake Tapper, live from Tel Aviv, starts right after a quick break.
Being a journalist is the best job in the world. Asking challenging questions of the folks who run the world. Is Ukraine going to win this war?
Yes, of course.
You ready?
The Lead with Jake Tapper, CNN, next.
So many hotels.
Trouble booking the family vacay? Come on. Comfort's free hot breakfast for the whole fam.
They have waffles.
And splendid pools.
Book direct at choicehotels.com.
When you're looking for answers, it's good to have help, because the right information at the right time may make all the difference. At Humana, we know that's especially true when you're looking for a Medicare supplement insurance plan. That's why we're offering 7 things every Medicare supplement should have. It's yours free, just for calling the number on your screen. And when you call, a knowledgeable licensed agent producer can answer any questions you have. and help you choose the plan that's right for you. The call is free, and there's no obligation. You see, Medicare covers only about 80% of your Part B medical expenses. The rest is up to you. That's why so many people purchase Medicare supplement insurance plans like those offered by Humana. They're designed to help you save money and pay some of the costs Medicare doesn't. Depending on the Medicare supplement plan you select, you could have no deductibles or co-payments for doctor visits, hospital stays, emergency care, and more. You can keep the doctors you have now, ones you know and trust, with no referrals needed. Plus, you can get medical care anywhere in the country, even when you're traveling. With Humana, you get a competitive monthly premium and personalized service from a healthcare partner working to make healthcare simpler and easier for you. You can choose from a wide range of standardized plans. Each one is designed to work seamlessly with Medicare and help save you money. So how do you find the plan that's right for you? One that fits your needs and your budget. Call Humana now at the number on your screen for this free guide. It's just one of the ways that Humana is making healthcare simpler. And when you call, a knowledgeable licensed agent producer can answer any questions you have and help you choose the plan that's right for you. The call is free and there's no obligation. You know Medicare won't cover all your medical costs, so call now and see why a Medicare supplement plan from a company like Humana just might be the answer.
Helping families with mesothelioma is all we do. My firm has been offering a free book on mesothelioma for over 10 years. Since that time, hundreds of people with mesothelioma have trusted us to represent them. We have local offices throughout the U.S. and there is no risk to you. Mesothelioma really is all we do. Call us at 1-800-213-8000. That's 1-800-213-8000. Or go to mesobook.com.
Ivisia Dry Eye Drops. Made with hydrating polymers, moisturizing hyaluronic acid, and revitalizing trehalose for instant dryness relief that lasts up to 8 hours. Ivisia, we see a better way.
We planned well for retirement, but I wish we had more cash.
You think those two have any idea that they can sell their life insurance policy for cash, so they're basically sitting on a gold mine? I don't think they have a clue. That's crazy. Well, not everyone knows Coventry's helped thousands of people sell their policies for cash, even term policies. I can't believe they're just sitting up there, sitting on all this cash.
If you own a life insurance policy of $100,000 or more, you can sell all or part of it to Coventry, even a term policy, for cash or a combination of cash and coverage with no future premiums.
Someone needs to tell them that they're sitting on a gold mine and you have no idea. Hey guys, you're sitting on a gold mine.
Do you hear that?
I don't hear anything anymore.
Find out if you're sitting on a gold mine. Call Coventry Direct today at 800-392-7600 or visit coventrydirect.com.
Aaron Burnett out front tonight at 7 on CNN. This is CNN Breaking News.
Welcome to The Lead. I'm Jake Tapper. I'm standing on a rooftop looking out over Tel Aviv. It is just after 11 p.m. here, and we're covering three major stories right now. The war here, the end to the chaotic speakership saga back in Washington, D.C., and former President Donald Trump in a stunning appearance on the stand today in his New York civil fraud trial. We're going to start with breaking news from Israel. It has been 18 days since the horrific attacks by Hamas caught this country and, frankly, much of the world by surprise. Just over an hour ago from this rooftop, we heard explosions, presumably from Israel's Iron Dome defense system, intercepting several rockets fired on Tel Aviv from Gaza. And just minutes ago, Israeli emergency services confirmed that 4 people were injured with something, possibly shrapnel, hitting this home in the town of Rishon LeZion. A reminder that Hamas continues to try to kill as many Israeli civilians as they can with their rockets. They are just not able to do so because of the Iron Dome defense system. Meanwhile, this evening, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed this grieving nation, still mourning after Hamas's horrific October 7th terrorist attack where 1,400 Israelis were brutally murdered. Speaking in Hebrew, Netanyahu alluded to the massive intelligence and military readiness failures of his administration that day, saying, quote, Everyone will have to give answers, including myself, but that will only happen after the war, unquote. Meanwhile, there are roughly still 600 American citizens stuck in Gaza amidst a full-blown humanitarian crisis there for the 2.3 million Palestinians. The main United Nations and organization in Gaza says it will be forced to stop its operations today due to a lack of fuel, blocked from entering Gaza as Israel remains certain that Hamas will steal any fuel shipments into Gaza and use that fuel to launch its rockets into Israel and kill innocent Israeli citizens. Humanitarian concerns have been echoed by Western allies who have called for a humanitarian pause in Israel's strikes on Gaza. That suggested pause, essentially just a rebranded term for a ceasefire, which Israel is wholly opposed to given the 1,400 murders and more than 200 people still being held hostage by Hamas in their web of underground tunnels. All this as another chapter unfolds, of course, as we mentioned earlier, in the complete and utter dysfunction in Washington, D.C. among House Republicans. This afternoon, after 4 candidates and 22 days of self-inflicted pain and paralysis upon an entire chamber of the U.S. Congress and the legislative branch of Congress, and of course, on the U.S. government and the U.S. people, Republicans finally named conservative Congressman Mike Johnson of Louisiana as Speaker of the House. And we're going to tell you more about Speaker-elect Johnson, or Speaker Johnson, rather, in a minute. But first, let's get to the big breaking news of the hour. Former President Donald Trump fined $10,000 for violating a gag order again. The judge in Trump's New York civil fraud trial warning the former president today to, quote, "Don't do it again or it'll be worse." CNN's Bryn Gingras is outside the courthouse in New York City. And Bryn, the judge issued the fine after Trump took the stand. What happened?
Yeah, that's right. Actually, Trump right now is in with the judge. The courtroom is cleared. His lawyers are with him. It's unclear what they're discussing, possibly this $10,000 fine. I want you, Jake, to listen to first what Trump said, and then I can explain how this all unfolded this afternoon in court.
This judge is a very partisan judge, with a person who's very partisan sitting alongside of him, perhaps even much more partisan than he is.
Now you heard him say that he called the judge partisan and the person sitting next to him very partisan. Now it's important, Jake, when you think about this, in the courtroom, the judge is in the middle. To his right is his court clerk, and to his left is the witness box. At the time sitting there was Michael Cohen. Well, Trump was brought back into the courtroom. The judge made him take the stand and answer under oath who was he talking about when he said the person next to him is very partisan. And under oath, Trump said that he was talking about Michael Cohen. Well, after he got off the stand, the judge said this: "As a trier of fact, I find that the witness is not credible," and he was referring to my law clerk. Remember, there was a gag order in place. It was that Trump could not speak ill about anyone associated with this judge's staff. This is the second time the judge has said he has violated this gag order, and he put down this $10,000 fine. Well, Trump's attorneys thought that, saying that it's unusual that a law clerk would be sitting right next to the judge, and that they feel like this case is being tried by 2 judges, but that did not stand. That argument did not stand, and the judge kept that $10,000 fine in place. Something else very important to discuss here, Jake, the fact that Michael Cohen was cross-examined at the end of the day. He's no longer on the stand, but there was some flip-flopping that happened that essentially angered Trump so much he threw up his hands and left the courtroom for the end part of the day. We are actually hearing from Michael Cohen right now about that exchange that happened on the stand. We're expecting to hear from the New York Attorney General. There's a lot that's happened in the last hour of this civil trial, Jake, and we'll continue to update you. But as of now, the civil trial will then now continue tomorrow. Jake?
All right, Bryn Gingras, thanks so much. I want to go now to CNN senior legal analyst Ellie Honig. Ellie, what are the risks for Donald Trump being questioned under oath?
Well, Jake, anytime anyone takes a stand, particularly if they're under multiple indictments, they run the risk of incriminating themselves. Trump actually would have had the option here to take the fifth and refuse to testify, but in this scenario, the judge could have used that against Donald Trump. The second risk is precisely what happened. Donald Trump took the stand, and the judge said, I find you non-credible. I don't believe you, and hence the judge ruled against Donald Trump and levied the increased fine.
And when the judge says, quote, don't do it again or it'll be worse, what could worse mean? Does it mean more than $10,000, which let's be honest, that's pocket change for Donald Trump, or does he mean jail time maybe?
So that's precisely the dilemma that the judge has here. The two tools that the judge has at his disposal are one, fine, and two, jail time. In fact, the judge went out of his way the last time to warn Donald Trump, if you do it again, I can fine you more, and I can, at least theoretically, imprison you. Now, I don't think that's at all likely, and I think, as you note, Jake, the financial amounts here are not really enough to deter Donald Trump, so the judge is going to have to engage in some sort of escalating deterrence here, and the judge said, my concern here is someone's going to get killed, so I think the judge needs to respond accordingly. I don't know that a $5,000 fine and then a $10,000 fine are going to do it.
Let's turn to the Georgia election subversion case where Donald Trump and 18 co-defendants were charged with trying to overturn the state's 2020 election results. And just into CNN, new exclusive reporting, Georgia prosecutors are considering plea deals with 6 additional co-defendants. Jenna Ellis, Sidney Powell, Ken Chesbrough, and Scott Hall have already pleaded guilty. Ellie, 6 more plea deals, that would mean almost half of the co-defendants will have flipped on Trump.
Yeah, Jake, so that would mean 19 defendants originally, 4 we know have pled, that brings us down to 15. If another 6 plead, that gets us down to 9 remaining co-defendants. This is what you have to do as a prosecutor.
Ellie, I'm sorry, I'm gonna interrupt, Ellie. I'm sorry. I apologize. We're gonna go to Michael Cohen, who's speaking live outside the courtroom. Let's go to that.
He's got the wrong guy to intimidate. As you've seen, I haven't stopped since I don't know how many years now, and I won't until, as I said, accountability is had. Why do you think?
My name is Jeffrey Levine, and I just want to expand on one thing that Michael said, and then I'm going to share some additional thoughts. First thing was, not only did the judge deny the motion to dismiss, but he did it twice. And the second time he did it, he said absolutely denied. So, like many other things with Michael, I can say in over 30 years of practicing law, I've never seen a judge issue a ruling that says absolute. Denied is enough. Absolutely denied? That's going beyond. And then he followed up, the judge, saying there's enough evidence in this room to find you liable. So it wasn't solely on Michael. He is a witness. He is not the witness because there's a lot of other evidence. As for my other statements, I just want to say, and I've said this before regarding Michael, that a little light dispels a lot of darkness. And Michael has gone on this path to shine that light. And he has an enormous burden in doing so, like today and yesterday. His family and he have paid dearly for his choice to shine that light. And I say this not only as Michael's lawyer, but we've known each other since middle school. So I've known Michael nearly 45 years. And I'm really pleased to be here under these circumstances. I'm pleased to be here to support Michael and to witness him righting wrongs and speaking truth to power, in particular here in this.
All right, so the testimony of Jeffrey Levine about his client, Michael Cohen. Ellie Honig, let me go back to you. Do you think these plea deals in the Georgia case, we already have had 4 individuals flip on Trump, there might be 6 others, do you think they could undermine the credibility of the case?
Well, Jake, I think on one hand, it is a good thing for prosecutors to get plea deals because you're locking in convictions. You're sort of showing the world that, yes, these people who I've charged are guilty. However, we do have to ask what's in these plea deals because here's the reality now. We've seen 4 people plead guilty so far. All 4 of them were charged with being part of this massive racketeering enterprise. The goal was to steal the 2020 election, looking at a 5-year minimum in prison. What they've all been allowed to plead guilty to, none of them have had to plead guilty to that racketeering enterprise. Instead, they've all pled to either very low-level felonies or to misdemeanors, and not a single one of them is going to do a day behind bars as a result of the pleas. Now, are they going to cooperate in a way that's effective, that's useful to the DA? That remains to be seen. I mean, look at Sidney Powell. She admitted to this very narrow conduct in Coffee County, but yet she's still out there spewing election fraud lies. So I don't know how viable a witness she's ultimately going to be. So it matters, Jake, what's in the details of these plea deals, and it is fair to question whether they're getting too lenient of a deal here.
All right, Eliana, thank you so much. I want to bring in CNN's Kristen Holmes now, if I can, and this is now, Kristen, the second fine that Trump has received from this judge who has been warning the former president it could get worse. What is the reaction inside Trump world to what happened today?
Yeah, Jacob, I mean, it depends if you're talking about officially or unofficially. Officially, they're, of course, saying the same thing. This is a Democratic judge who is trying to take away Donald Trump's First Amendment rights. But privately, there is a lot of questions as to how exactly this is going to work and a lot of skepticism as to whether or not Donald Trump can actually abide by this gag order. You have to remember that for years, Donald Trump's advisors and even more recently campaign advisors have been trying to manage his messaging. They know that is not possible. And remember, that is when Donald Trump believes that the people trying to manage his messaging have his best interest at heart, which he obviously does not believe in the case of this judge. Part of Donald Trump's strategy when it comes to his mounting legal peril is to play this out in the court of public opinion. What that means is taking every opportunity he can to talk to the media. That is why he's always going over to the cameras. That's why he's posting on Truth Social. He wants to create his own narrative around this and then again play this out in the court of public opinion, not in a courtroom. This severely limits his capabilities to do that. So whether or not he can actually abide by a gag order, that is a real question, even among his closest aides and advisors who have tried and tried to keep him on message, often to only be left with their mouths dropped open when he says something that they cannot believe came out of his mouth.
All right, Kristen Holmes, thanks so much. Appreciate it. To another big story this hour, the newly minted Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. He was a key figure who once led efforts to overturn the free and fair 2020 election, and that's not the only controversial mark on his resume. Stay with us.
The Chase Ink Business Premier Card is made for Sam, who makes
everyday products designed smarter.
Genius! Like 2.5% cash back on purchases of $5,000 or more, so Sam can make smart ideas
A brilliant reality.
Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Stay tuned to learn more about this limited time offer from Renewal by Andersen.
We all have that list of home improvement projects we need to do, and if replacing your home's windows and doors is on that list, you want to know that it's going to be affordable. I'm from Renewal by Andersen, and we've helped thousands of customers who are on a budget get our windows and doors for their home. How do we do it? Well, here's something you don't expect to hear from a window company. You don't have to upgrade all your windows and doors at the same time. We're really good at identifying the bad windows and those you can wait on replacing. And here's something we offer that you don't find with a lot of window companies or contractors: great financing options. With Renewal by Andersen, you can have monthly payments that'll probably be lower than your cable bill. With another program, you can get windows and doors now and not pay anything for an entire year. It's almost like free money. No wonder half of our customers finance. Before we talk about the warranty, think about other things you've bought. Did it sometimes feel like you had to buy the expensive extended warranty to get the good coverage? That's never the case with us. Our windows are so durable and our installers are so talented. Unlike some other companies, our warranties cover the windows, patio doors, and the installation.
It's really impressive that they sell the product, they manufacture the product, they install the product, because then you're dealing with one company, and you're dealing with one company that has a long-standing and solid reputation.
Let Renewal by Andersen help put great windows and doors in your budget this year.
Before October 31st, buy one window, patio door, or entry door and get the next one 40% off. That's 40% off with a minimum purchase of 4. And our financing can help make this project more affordable with 0 money down, 0 monthly payments, and 0 interest for 1 year. This offer ends October 31st. For a free appointment with Renewal by Anderson, call 1-800-501-1400.
Hi folks, Joe Namath here. The Medicare annual enrollment period is now. Do you know if your Medicare plan benefits are changing next year? Will your costs go up? Are your doctors still covered? Get answers in 3 steps. 1, call the toll-free number below by December 7th to speak to a licensed insurance agent. 2, review your coverage for any changes to your Medicare plan for next year. 3, learn if a Medicare Advantage plan that may offer additional benefits is available in your area.
I call every year to see what plans are available in my area.
I call every year to make sure my doctors are still covered under my plan.
They work with multiple insurance companies across the nation, so you'll have choices from a variety of plans. The Medicare annual enrollment period has a deadline. Millions have called. You should too.
Call to speak to a licensed insurance agent. Call 1-800-697-6200. Call now.
Question: how's your money management game? I tried spreadsheets, post-it notes, and mental math, but could never keep up with everything. That's why I started Rocket Money, an app to lower bills, find and cancel unwanted subscriptions, and bring your entire financial picture into focus. Download Rocket Money today.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Page Publishing. Want to publish a book? We'll review your manuscript for free.
If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you.
Call 800-563-0741.
The challenge before us is great, but the time for action is now, and I will not let you down.
We're back with our other big domestic story tonight after 22 days of complete chaos on Capitol Hill. House Republicans have finally managed to select a new Speaker of the House. His name is Congressman Mike Johnson. He is a 4-term congressman from Louisiana. He did what over a dozen Republican Speaker candidates were unable to do, which is get 217 votes and unite the party, including the hard right and the few moderates that are left.
We want our allies around the world to know that this body of lawmakers is reporting again to our duty stations. Let the enemies of freedom around the world hear us loud and clear. The People's House is back in business.
Speaker Johnson's ascension does not come without controversy. He has a manner that is moderate, but he is without question one of the most conservative members of Congress in the House. He's one of the most staunch opponents of abortion. He led efforts to overturn and decertify the 2020 election, an election that has been proven time and again to have had no widespread voter fraud. Perhaps the following 2 moments sum this up best. The first, a floor speech that occurred almost simultaneously as rioters smashed the windows and breached the Capitol on January 6th. The second, just last night.
Madam Speaker, we have a solemn responsibility today. We must vote to sustain objections to states of electors submitted by states that we genuinely believe clearly violated the Constitution and the presidential election of 2020. This is the threshold legal question before us, and it's an issue before us for the state of Arizona.
Can you help lead the efforts to overturn the 2020 election with votes for you?
Next question.
So it was important then, but doesn't want to talk about it now. Interesting. Anyway, who exactly is Congressman Speaker Mike Johnson? What does he stand for? CNN's Brian Todd takes a look at Speaker Johnson's record.
Frankly, we did win this election.
In those contentious days after the 2020 election, when then President Trump was desperately maneuvering to hold on to power, Mike Johnson was one of Trump's most zealous supporters in Congress.
The system is set up for massive fraud and error, and
have that in our election system.
The Republican from Louisiana led a group of conservative lawmakers who signed a court filing which tried to nullify electoral college votes in several states won by Joe Biden, a legal effort that was soundly rejected by the Supreme Court.
I think all of that is partly what makes him a favorable candidate for Donald Trump. You can expect Democrats to be looking to highlight this stuff.
Just after the 2020 election was called for Joe Biden, Johnson posted on X, then known as Twitter, quote, "I have just called President Trump to say this. Stay strong and keep fighting, sir. The nation is depending upon your resolve." Today, outside court, the former president complimented the congressman.
I think Mike Johnson is doing very well. He's a tremendous congressman, respected by everybody.
But if you think the former conservative radio talk show host came out of nowhere to win the speakership, you might not be alone. Longtime Senator Susan Collins from Johnson's own party said, quote, "I was going to Google him this morning."
A lot of people don't know him, which means he doesn't have a lot of enemies.
First elected to Congress in 2016, Johnson staunchly opposes abortion and celebrated the Supreme Court decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, calling it a, quote, "great, joyous occasion."
The founders, the ones who put this country together, recognized that life was sacred because it is given to us by our Creator, by God.
Johnson's also been a fierce opponent of LGBTQ rights. In the mid-2000s, he wrote in an op-ed in the Shreveport Times that homosexuality is, quote, "an inherently unnatural and dangerous lifestyle that would lead to legalized pedophilia." The 51-year-old Johnson, according to Politico, is the least experienced speaker elected in 140 years. Is he in over his head?
The speaker job is an on-the-job training situation. Nobody's prepared for that role unless they've already been in it.
Analysts say Mike Johnson won't have much of a honeymoon period as House Speaker. One of his first big tests will come in the days leading up to the November 17th government shutdown deadline. A test to see if he can work with Democrats to keep the government funded and if he can navigate those treacherous waters of the hardline Republicans who tossed Kevin McCarthy from power. Jake?
All right, Brian Todd, thank you so much. Let's bring in Republican Congressman Mike Waltz of Florida. Congressman, thanks for joining us. Every single Republican who was present today voted to make Mike Johnson the new speaker. Congratulations. Did you ever think your party would ever come to a consensus over anyone? It did, I have to say, it did seem at one point that there would be no one who would be able to get 217. But then when Mike Johnson's name emerged, it seemed like the party pretty quickly coalesced around him.
Yeah, Jake, I think Mike Johnson sits right in kind of in that sweet spot, frankly, within our coalition. He is admired for his work on judiciary, whether that's on many of the social issues that he does have a very conservative view on, and that he has a lot of support within our delegation. At the same time, he literally sits right next to me in armed services and has a very clear-eyed view of the threats facing this country, of the need for American strength, of the need for investment in our defense, and from the overwhelming threat that is coming from the Chinese Communist Party, from Iran, Russia, and North Korea. So I think that, he really sits in a unique spot, and as you can see already, there is a very substantive base as a constitutional lawyer and a deep history and knowledge to his belief that he can back up intellectually and substantively all day long, but his demeanor is not as confrontational. I think that made it very palatable for our entire conference. He's ready to get back to work. He shares many of our vision for why we were elected and why we have the majority, and I'm looking forward to supporting him.
Yeah, he does. He has a more moderate style, but he is, and I don't think he would disagree with this, he is one of the most conservative members of Congress, and I wonder if you worry at all that he will try to bring the party with him to the far right when there are more moderate members and other people who might not want to pass for instance, a national abortion ban because they're not comfortable with that.
Well, look, I think he would wear what you just said as one of the more substantive and conservative members of our conference as a badge of honor. And I think what so many people appreciate about him is his views are deeply rooted. They're thoughtful. He articulates them well. And no one, I don't think, really has a belief that he's just doing it for pure politics or telling people what they want to hear. Will he have to govern an entire conference and get us all on the same page with a narrow majority? Absolutely. That's why this job is one of the toughest that I think there is anywhere in the world.
All right, Republican Congressman Mike Waltz, good to see you, sir. Thank you so much for being with us.
All right, thanks, Jake.
Coming up next, next up for Speaker Johnson, fights over funding for Ukraine, funding for Israel, not to mention that government shutdown, which could be on the way next month. So how do House Republicans move forward? We're going to pick up the conversation in a moment. Thank you.
The new CNN Prime Time is where the truth shines, taking you to the heart of the story.
We start with breaking news for you this evening. We are just about 3 miles from the Gaza border.
And breaking through the noise.
Interesting conversation about where we are in America right now.
The day's biggest stories.
What we have been seeing in Israel is unprecedented.
The night's most essential reporting.
It's not about what I believe, it's about whether there is evidence.
This is the new CNN Prime Time. Weeknights starting at 7 on CNN.
Your shipping manager left to find themselves, leaving you lost. You need to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Indeed Instant Match instantly delivers quality candidates matching your job description. Visit Indeed.com/hire.
At Consumer Cellular, our customer service team is based here in America.
America?
America.
From sea to shining sea.
Beautiful.
Attention Medicare beneficiaries. This is an important message for everyone on Medicare. Attention everyone on Medicare. Today we are talking about 2024 Medicare Advantage plans. If you don't have a 2024 Medicare Advantage Part C plan, call now because there may be a Medicare Part C plan with additional benefits available in your zip code. Right now is the Medicare annual enrollment period. You can call now to see if there are any changes to your current Medicare plan in the upcoming year or find out if you're eligible to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan with additional benefits. Everyone on Medicare is encouraged to call. Call now and a licensed insurance agent can look up your plan and see if there are any changes to your current plan in the upcoming year. Call now during the Medicare annual enrollment period. Part C plans can change every year. Don't wait. Call before the Medicare annual enrollment period ends on December 7th for your free, no obligation 2024 Medicare benefits review. Call 800-882-0987. 800-882-0987. Attention Medicare beneficiaries. This is an important message for everyone on Medicare. Attention everyone on Medicare. Today we are talking about 2024 Medicare Advantage plans. If you don't have a 2024 Medicare Advantage Part C plan, call now because there may be a Medicare Part C plan with additional benefits available in your zip code. Right now is the Medicare annual enrollment period. You can call now to see if there are any changes to your current Medicare plan in the upcoming year or find out if you're eligible to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan with additional benefits. Everyone on Medicare is encouraged to call. Call now and a licensed insurance agent can look up your plan and see if there are any changes to your current plan in the upcoming year. Call now during the Medicare annual enrollment period. Part C plans can change every year. Don't wait. Call before the Medicare annual enrollment period ends on December 7th for your free, no obligation 2024 Medicare benefits review. Call 800-882-0987. 800-882-0987.
Drive Time has a big announcement. An even easier way to buy a car. You make the deal yourself.
I made the deal myself.
It lets you customize the real down payment and monthly payment of the car you want to buy.
It's the Drive Time Real Deal Maker!
Get the real deal at drivetime.com.
Yellow lines are everywhere, guiding us when we need a little help, giving us a heads up, and warning us before we cross them. So that when life doesn't give us a yellow line,
Honey, can you grab that?
we know what to do. Let's keep it preventable.
I'm Kayla Tausche at the White House, and this is CNN.
We're back with more on today's lesson in Democracy is Messy. After weeks of ugly infighting, Republicans finally got their act together and elected. Oh, Donald Trump is talking outside the courthouse. Let's listen in.
Evaluations, and he was caught lying like nobody's ever lied. It was better than a Perry Mason moment. And that should be the end of the case. That should, in any other case, any other judge, this would be the end of the case. We're being railroaded here. The city and state are railroaded. Businesses are leaving because of this. But their only witness, their chief witness, their only witness, just admitted, number one, he lied. And he admitted he lied. He said he lied numerous times. And then he said, as per the best television show that you'll ever imagine, he said, I did not ask him to manipulate figures. That should be the end of the case. If we had a jury, this case would have never started practically. Also, it's a statute that's never used. It was only used in Trump. This is a very unfair thing, and other businesses are watching it, and if they move to New York, they're crazy. As far as the speaker is concerned, he is a fantastic gentleman, and I think he's going to do a great job. Mike Johnson, Louisiana, is going to do a great job. Thank you, everybody.
All right, Donald Trump speaking outside the courtroom there. Let's bring in Ellie Honig. Ellie, explain to our viewers what exactly this most recent airing of grievances is about and what you think this will result in, if there is a penalty or not.
Yeah, so let me try to clarify this, Jake. So what Donald Trump is talking about here is the testimony of Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen, over the years, during his congressional testimony and at this trial, has explained the instructions that Donald Trump gave him in different ways. At times, Michael Cohen has said, no, Donald Trump never specifically told me to inflate the value of assets. At other times, he said, well, but it was generally understood. Donald Trump knew how to make his will known without specifically saying it. There's a bit of a discrepancy there. That's fair game for cross-examination. That's fair game for Trump's lawyers to argue to the judge ultimately here. Michael Cohen's not credible. His testimony has been inconsistent. Here's where Donald Trump is off the rails, though. This does not mean the case is over. Witnesses sometimes have inconsistencies. It's up to the trier of fact, in this case, up to a judge. It doesn't mean game over, I've won, let's go home. It means this witness has had some damage done on cross-examination as we expected, and ultimately it'll be up to the judge.
We're being railroaded here. The city and state are railroaded. Businesses are leaving because of this.
And Ellie Honig, in addition, do you think that Donald Trump, who has been repeatedly told and threatened with a gag order, do you think him going out there and saying we're being railroaded here, do you think that will have any impact? Again, his complaining, his taking issue with the manner of the trial, etc.?
Well, he's towing the line, as we've seen quite a bit. The gag order in this particular case, there's actually two. There's a separate gag order in one of the criminal cases in D.C., but the gag order in this case, this is the civil trial in New York, is very narrow. All the judge said is, you cannot say anything about my staff. The judge actually accepted himself. He just said, my clerks, my courtroom staff. And so I think Trump's general comments about the conduct of the trial are probably not specific enough to violate the gag order. In contrast, I should note, to the comments that Donald Trump has made now twice, which the judge has found do specifically go to the clerk, and that's why the judge has found Donald Trump violated that gag order twice and fined him twice.
All right, Ellie Honig, thank you so much. I want to bring in Jamie Gangel right now to talk more about Speaker Mike Johnson. And Jamie, we've been talking about Speaker Johnson, and what's interesting, one of the things that's been going on with Speaker Johnson is that he's a very smooth operator. Like, I covered him way back in 2005, and I was in Louisiana and I was covering a parish there that continued to proselytize its public school students, continued to do school prayer, public school prayer, even though courts kept telling them to stop. And he worked for a group called like the Alliance Defense Fund or something like that. And he presented these very, very Christian conservative views in a very moderate, mainstream presentation. And I remember turning to my producer, Avery Miller, at the time and saying, this guy's going to be a congressman very quickly. I did not know, this is about 18 years ago, I would not have predicted he would be a speaker within 20 years. But it does not really actually surprise me because he has these very conservative views, as Congressman Waltz acknowledged earlier. He's one of the most conservative members of the House, and yet in manner and bearing, he seems like a next-door dad.
Right. So, look...
We're looking outside right now. Jamie, I'm sorry for interrupting right now. Letitia James is speaking. Let's listen in.
Corroborate the testimony of a number of witnesses. It's also important to know that Michael Cohen is not the main witness. His evidence has been corroborated by the mountains of evidence, enough evidence to fill the courtroom. And so I look forward again to this trial continuing, and of course I always look forward to justice. Thank you very much. And let me also remind you that the judge has already made a decision with respect to the summary judgment. There is sufficient evidence to prove that in fact Mr. Trump, the Trump Organization, and the other defendants committed widespread fraud.
All right, so that was Tish James talking right now. Jamie Gangel, what is your impression right now of what's going on in this courtroom right now with Donald Trump?
Well, the thing that struck me today was the fine for the gag order, $10,000 fine. And it reminded me, Jake, you may remember when we covered Bob Woodward's first book on Trump, Fear, and Woodward tells the story of how Trump's own lawyer, John Dowd, said you can't go on the stand. If you testify, was the quote, you'll end up in an orange jumpsuit. And I remind everyone of that because one of the things the judge did in the gag order ruling was Trump took the stand. He was under oath. And he said, oh, I was talking about Michael Cohen, not your clerk. The judge said that wasn't credible. So just big picture, that was my takeaway from today's court appearance.
And Ellie, what does this tell you about what comes next in the trial?
So Letitia James made a really important point there. Michael Cohen is on the stand now. He's obviously a very important witness, but there's a lot of evidence here that needs to be gone through. There are other witnesses from inside the Trump Organization. There are financial documents. And so the point the Attorney General made there is this is a long trial. There's a lot of evidence. And she made another really important point to keep in mind. The judge has already given what we call summary judgment, meaning she's already found in favor of the AG against Donald Trump on one of the allegations in this case, the allegation of repetitive and persistent fraud. So the AG has already won that issue, but there's still a long way to go. This case, Michael Cohen's very important, but this case does not solely rise or fall on Michael Cohen's testimony.
All right, Jamie Gangel and Ellie Honig, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Here in the Middle East, emergency aid that should be headed into Gaza has been crippled by a fight over fuel. We're going to tell you where that stands next.
Every parent knows when it's time to go into protect mode.
A fight over fuel is preventing needed aid from getting to the Palestinians who may be starving and need water and food in the Gaza Strip. A fight over fuel may be limiting trucks and trucks of aid ready to leave through the Egyptian border to help Palestinians in the Gaza Strip is being held up Fights over fuel. Fights over fuel. Fights over fuel.
Set the record straight. I am shocked by the misrepresentations by some of my statement yesterday in the Security Council, as if I was justifying acts of terror by Hamas. This is false. It was the opposite.
Let's bring in CNN's Clarissa Ward, who is live in Cairo, Egypt. Clarissa, a diplomatic fight has been playing out for quite some time as the fuel shortage is intensifying the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Bring us up to speed.
So there has been so much back and forth about this, Jake. The Israelis have been saying that Hamas actually holds hundreds of thousands of liters of fuel, but meanwhile, when we talk to humanitarian organizations, hospitals, the UN on the ground, they say that this has actually now reached a crisis point. The World Health Organization saying that 12 of Gaza's 35 hospitals are now essentially out of commission. 8 of those because they have simply run out of fuel. The UN Relief and Works Agency that operates inside of Gaza has said previously that they would be forced to stop their operations tonight. Earlier this afternoon, speaking to CNN, they appeared to sort of calibrate that message slightly and said that if they run out of fuel tonight or tomorrow, they will be forced to drastically reduce their operations. We've been in touch with a number of doctors and hospitals on the ground who say that they really are now on their last drops of fuel. And what's important to remember here, Jake, of course, is that because the electricity has been cut off, it's fuel that powers the generators. It's generators that then allow incubators, ventilator machines, and crucially desalination plants. Because clean water is no longer accessible, people are drinking brackish water, according to doctors on the ground. That is leading to spiking of rates in disease, but also preeclampsia in pregnant women. And so all of this really spiraling, making it clear that fuel is very much at the center of efforts, diplomatic efforts to try to get that aid in, but also appears to be deeply involved in a broader deal that may be surrounding the hostage issue or some kind of a possible humanitarian pause, making it all that more complex and all that more dangerous for people on the ground who so desperately need to get it, Jake.
So Israel argues that if they let fuel in, Hamas controls Gaza, they will just seize it, and the fuel will be used to fuel rockets, which attack civilians in Israel, and that the fuel will be used for oxygen in the tunnels. Is there any way to guarantee that the fuel will go to the hospitals and go to the desalination plants? And is it true that Hamas has fuel of its own?
So we actually put this to the UN because the way it's been explained to us is that the transportation of fuel would be going directly from one official body to another official body, that Hamas would not be involved at any point with the transport of fuel into Gaza. And we asked UNRWA, the UN agency that operates inside Gaza, if they have ever had Hamas come and try to appropriate fuel, if they have ever had Hamas steal fuel from their warehouses, as the IDF has claimed. They told us that they have never experienced that. In terms of Israel's allegation about 500,000 liters of fuel that Hamas holds, that is simply impossible for us to verify. But certainly, if it is there, it's not getting to the hospitals in Gaza.
All right, Clarissa Ward, thank you so much. Soldiers with the Israel Defense Forces are among the hundreds missing after Hamas's surprise terrorist attack on October 7th. Remember, there's conscription in Israel. Every young man and young woman, except for those who are exempt from service, has to join the military. And that includes 19-year-old Roni Eshel. Roni was stationed at a military base in southern Israel near the Gaza border. Roni last texted her mother 18 days ago saying, quote, "Don't worry, I'm okay. I love you," with 4 heart emojis. I want to bring in Roni's aunt, Ta'ir Kowalski, who joins me now live. Thank you for being here. I'm so sorry that we're meeting under these circumstances. That's horrible, and I can't imagine what you're feeling.
I'll tell you.
Well, tell me.
I'll tell you what I'm feeling. Thank you for letting us tell our story.
Yeah, she's a beautiful girl, Roni. I mean,
She is.
I have nieces, and
She is. She's my niece. She's a 19 years old girl. She, you say she's a soldier. She's part of IDF, but she was captured at Israeli territory from a safe base, and she has long lashes and beautiful eyes, and she loves Taylor Swift, and she loves Harry Styles, and she has 1 more year for her to finish her duty, and she was planning on going with her mom and her sister to one of these concerts in Europe, and then she planned on travel New York and maybe study there, and she's just a 19 years old girl who's away from home, and we don't know what happened to her. We don't know her whereabouts. We don't know if she's alive or dead. We don't know how they treat her. We certainly don't trust these mercenaries and monsters to keep her safe. We saw what they're capable of when our families were butchered and our homes were burned. And her dad, Eyal, and her mom, Sharon, they have the weirdest prey to know that, to hear something, to hear, like, can you imagine to have to choose between finding out that she's being captured by Hamas, ISIS, or being or being burned to death so hard that she's unrecognizable?
Yeah. No, I can't. It's awful. I mean, the reason I mentioned that there's conscription in Israel is because it's important to understand that there's no choice. You have to be in the military when you're 18, 19 years old, unless some of the religious communities are exempt, but generally speaking, everybody's in the military when they're 18 or 19 years old, because in a country like Israel, you have to be in the military.
You have to be in the military, and you want to be part of the military because you want to defend your family and your home and your border, and you learn so many values when you go to the army, and if you meet kids 18, 19 years old here, we grow up so fast. Like, there is a transition in these 2 years or 3 years that we're in the military, that we're changing. We have responsibility. We're responsible for people. We're responsible for homes. We're responsible for our borders.
We're responsible for protecting the rest of Israel from attack.
Yes.
And from infiltration.
Ronnie's job is to be a lookout at the border, at the hottest border in Israel.
At the Gaza Strip.
Inside Israeli territory.
Yeah. No, I get it.
for a while. I do think that Cohen gets under Trump's skin. I do think that Cohen rattles Trump in a very specific way, and I think you are seeing Trump try to do it back.
And take a look at the image CNN just obtained of Donald Trump on the stand today. It's a courtroom sketch. We always like these interesting courtroom sketches. Everybody has their own little interpretation of him. This is Trump when he was being questioned under oath about the gag order. The judge didn't find Trump's explanation as to who he was talking about when he referred to somebody as being more partisan than somebody else. Trump said he was talking about Michael Cohen, but the judge didn't believe him. He thought he was talking about his clerk, and the judge then fined Donald Trump $10,000 for violating it. He basically called Trump a liar, basically insinuated Trump was lying under oath. What's your reaction to this?
The judge basically thought that Trump was lying under oath. Figures because he lies a lot.
So I'm sorry that I can't. My take on what took. I don't have a reverse showing here, but my take from what happened.
The judge thought Trump was lying under oath.
With this trial, said very bluntly that he doesn't find him credible. Now, does that mean he doesn't find him credible in every instance? I don't know that that matters. He's saying it while Trump was under oath. And Trump, remember, Jake, is going to have to testify in this trial as a witness in the next 2 weeks. And so the fact that this is going into his questioning with this level of rancor with the judge, it's just not helpful to him at a time when he's trying to save his company.
All right, Maggie Haberman, good talking to you. Thank you so much, my friend. A very busy afternoon here on The Lead. We're live from Tel Aviv. A brand new Speaker of the House was elected just a few hours ago. Republicans managing to get their ducks in a row, or whatever, in a row. One of the first orders of business for the new Speaker. That's next.